Hi, thanks for reaching out. Sorry it took me until the end of today to get back to you. It's been a really busy day, which is good for a librarian in the summertime, I suppose. When we are looking for, I'm looking at another monitor over here. When you're looking for additional journals, there's essentially three different tiers of journals. There's like the top stuff, which is really easy to find, which I'll show you. There is the middle level, which is legitimate stuff that just isn't as highly ranked. But then at the bottom, there's things that are called predatory journals. What I'm going to do is hopefully show you the stuff that's like at the top that you can aspire to and avoid the predatory journals. Predatory journals are not necessarily ranked in the same way. They're going out and shopping for authors. And so their practices are a little dubious. Their peer review is dubious. They're just, it's kind of weird. If you wanted to look it up, I would say go to Google Gemini and say, what is a predatory journal? There's like a whole mess of stuff going on. We'll do our best to avoid those. If you ever run into trouble, I can show you how to find out if it's a predatory journal too. I'll show you that. That'll be the third thing that I show you. Okay, first one. We have your journal, and here it says it might be open access. We'll talk about that a little bit. It has journal metrics, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But it kind of is only about this one journal. So what are its peers? What are its competitors? And we'll look at this journal as well. So if you go to the library homepage, if you go to databases, there's something called Citation Index, Journal Citation Index, Science Citation Index. I always forget the name of it, but it's embedded in the Web of Science. So let's use this. Dale's cheat because he can't remember what the citation index is called. Web of Science. This is a database. Before we look up the names of the journal you're interested in, you could put in, I actually have a keyword in there. You could do COVID and Asian American and undergraduate. And you could see there's one way of finding a journal. If it's indexed here, you could just see the name of the journal. Cultural studies, critical methodologies, microbiology education. There's a lot of overlap these days where they're looking at populations who are participating in biology education. Journal of American College Health. So that's one way that you could do it as well. And you could do that in any of our databases. Again, we have to be careful of the predatory journals. When you look in Web of Science and another database called Scopus, those are the top level, the cream of the crop. So if you're in Web of Science and you see a journal listed, you're probably good to go. How do we find the name of a journal and see where it stands? We can go to Publication Titles. In Scopus, it's called Source Title. They don't have a journal citation index. But for what it's worth, you could go in. And I'm just going to grab this whole thing. And you can put it in quotes because we want it to find, oh no, I don't want to have and education. I want it to be in quotes. Quotes will look for that whole string of text. And you can see that it shows up a number of times. It doesn't matter if you get all of them. So there's like 825. I think I looked up in another databases and there was like closer to 1,000. All you need is the name of the journal. In this database, when you click on the journal, a little pop-out menu is going to show up. And it's going to give you that same factor of metrics that we were looking at before. The cool thing about this one, and this is where this database is worth a lot of our time, is if you go to, Journal Citation Reports, that's the name of the database I couldn't remember. When you click on Learn More, it'll show you race, ethnicity, and education among its peers. So when you look at this, again, this is like the journal's data. A lot of different things going on in here. But you can see under category, sometimes this will be called subject heading, you can see these different categories. In Scopus, they had it under sociology. And this one is strictly under education and educational research. So I would say cruise around and see what you can find. Each one of these categories has a set of journals. So if you click on this, you can see 269 journals under that top, or that subject heading, which is education, education research. And it's ranked by the journal impact factor. Journal impact factor is made up of things like the number of times an article has been cited in a current edition, or a current year, or the current 5 years. There's a whole bunch of different factors. I said that I'd talk about open access. Percentage of the journal, if you want to find an open access journal, if you want to prioritize ones that are more open access, then you could do it this way. Be that as it may, you can click on any of these and mess around with them. You could do total citations. So you could see Computers in Education is probably like the oldest, most impactful database, and things like that. What you would do with this list, if this is not a sustainably small list, but you could go through and you can see, well, educational research review, psychologist, and you could look for keywords. So it might be like higher education, if you're looking at undergraduate. It could be ethnicity, could be language, it could be any number of different things that you could go through, and you could see, is there anything related to what you're looking for in the title? Looks like a lot of these are like computer. So this is where it gets kind of muddy. What we can do is let's go back. Let's try ethnic studies. And when you were looking at ethnic studies, you might look at education or higher education. See how I'm kind of like blending your topic with the main topic of the journal? Let me show you one more thing that might help. If you go to that other database called Scopus, I'm showing you more than you need to know, but just in case. Scopus is similar to Web of Science, but if I go to source title and I look for that journal, it's going to give me different categories. So here's race, ethnicity, and education. The way that it categorized it was social sciences, cultural studies, social sciences, demography, social sciences, education. So it might help you to go back and forth between these. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have like a journal, a set of journals that you can look at. I can help you narrow down the list, but those are a couple of ways of cruising around. Let's look at this one. Cultural Studies and Critical Methodologies. This one, let's close this search, and this one, and this one. And let's do a new search. So in this one, because it's got that arrow symbol, I did a search before and I was just, it didn't find anything because that's not a character. I think that's more marketing than a type character. So what you do is put both chunks in quotes and separate them with an and just one space. Oh, it didn't like that. I wonder if I have to do an all caps. Okay, let's try publication titles, critical studies, or cultural studies. Oh, Lord. Okay, another way around that. Let's go back to Scopus. Oh, it's kind of tough because this one's in education. It's in epidemiology and a variety of different things. So you really could put it anywhere. But let's do the source title. I'll do that same search. I swear it worked in this one. Let's see if we can find the privilege of control and constraint in presence. So this is in the journal we are interested in. cultural studies. Oh, they put a hyphen in this one. You could go back and search instead of the publication title. You just do the title of the article itself. And there's our journal. Isn't that annoying? The hyphen, and especially those arrows and any other special characters, will mess up a search. So I apologize for the detailed workaround. We can blame the Cultural Studies Critical Methodologies Journal. But using that same thing, let's go in and let's see how they describe themselves. They just fall under Cultural Studies. 44 journals. But again, we have epidemiology, we have ancestry, anthropology, education, all of these different things going on. So hopefully this will help you sort it out, something that you're looking for. If you're interested in me digging around and looking for more journals, or if you have an article or articles that you really like, dig into the journals that they look at. Also, search for the same search terms that those articles use, and then you might be able to find other journals that talk about this as well. But at least we have a pool of like 44 to 297 or whatever we had there. Let me know if I can help further. Lastly, did you know that these all will have instructions for authors in them too? So if you need help with the submission side and things like that, we have a librarian that can help with that too. Okay, thanks for watching to the end. Have a good one.